All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of Reptiles and Cocktails. And today, our special guest is Melodie Patterson, a Patterson Pythons and Pets. Very excited to interview this sister today. Believe it or not, a lot of times in the reptile world, we interact with people that we kind of sort of think we know, but we really don't know them because we've never met them personally. And so Melodie is that person for me. So give everybody a chance to come in. If you don't mind, please share the podcast. And I'll actually be doing that myself. Let's go. Hope everybody is having a great weekend so far. And let's get this. All right. So we're going to bring on Miss Melodie Patterson. And here we go. Welcome, Melodie. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Really, really good. Really good. Really excited about this podcast today because, as I said, we talk, we interact, but we don't really know each other. So I'm about to learn so much that I don't know about a friend. So this is
No?
going to be a lot of fun. Definitely, I would say one of the coolest accents ever. So y'all keep me focused because Melly has one of them accents that I'll just let her talk just so I can listen to her talk.
Yes. I will talk all day. Don't let me, because I promise I will.
That's great. All right, so let's go. So I'm gonna go with my very first question.
Okay.
And right now, today, what I do know is that somewhere in the last 2 years, you went from maybe no, very little pets, one or two pets,
Yeah.
and now I think you're probably as bad as me. I lost count. I don't, I can't keep up, and I
Yes.
have a lot of questions. I just really saw that you just got. I knew you had bought the berm, but I didn't know
Yeah.
that you had a boa too.
Yes.
And you were a team no big snakes at first. So let's talk about
Look.
that transition.
Okay, so about 3.5, maybe 4 years ago, I got my first ball, my first snake from a friend, and he had two. And he was like, well, you could keep them if you want to. So I babysat for a little while. And I was like, can I have her? He's like, yeah. So I got her from him.
Okay.
And I blame him every day for this habit that I have now. Um, I've always wanted, since I got into them, I did want big snakes, but I'm a little girl. Oh, man. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, Okay, so I always wanted a big snake, but I'm a little girl. So, and on the outside, on the inside, I'm huge. I'm a
Right.
giant. But yeah, I'm only 5'2", and so I'm like, okay, these big snakes, what if they get too heavy or whatever. And my husband, even though he loves and supports me, he's not as into them as I am. When he was younger, he's had about 3 snakes, even before I met him,
Okay.
ball pythons and a boa. So he's been doing it way longer than me, but I I'm more into animals. All my life, animals. So now that I have this berm, I kind of feel like I'm getting close to where I am. Just to be honest, I was scared of the size, scared of the feeding response, scared of everything. So, but now ball pythons. Okay, they're cute. You could do so much with them, but I need more of a challenge. All right. So then here comes the boas. I bought a couple of boas from Carlito, Ceramic.
Oh,
Yeah, and
yeah. DC
so
Hertz, I think, right?
yes.
Okay.
So um, they're a few months old now, and they're getting nice size. And I was
Okay.
like, okay. And then now I'm babysitting three boas for a friend, and her boas are so calm, cool, collected, just sweet. I was like, okay, I'm ready for these jokers to come on and get some size on them. So for my birthday, one of my friends
Okay.
contacted for my one of my friends contacted me and said, I have a boa with your name on it. And I was like, what? Yay! And so my husband got that for me. So now my first official big boa that's actually mine, I got Sunday. Now, before that, I got a berm from Creshelda. Um, um, Creshelda with the big
Yeah.
snakes.
Yep.
She's done a lot for me, as far as merchandise and T-shirts and all that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
when her berm eggs hatched, I told her I have to have one, possibly two, but let me not get ahead of myself. So now I have little Diamond, and I can't wait for her to get some size. She is the sweetest little girl. I just have her out and just I can walk around and do anything with her, and she really doesn't do anything. I'm like, okay, I can handle her. So, the boas I literally have them out like they play on the cat tree and all that stuff. I love big size animals now. I'm not a little animal person. I don't even like little dogs. I have to have big dogs. I don't know. It's just me.
Awesome. Welcome to the podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are interviewing the wonderful Miss Melodie Patterson, and I just, this is going to be a good one. So you mentioned that you were definitely a ball python girl. So was I, right?
Yes, yes.
So was I. And so when you talk about transitioning into the biggest snake, so for years I always wanted a reticulated python. I've held like I was exposed to boa constrictors and things like that. So it wasn't like the reticulated python for me was like a wild animal. So I thought. So my biggest fear was just what you said, like not even the feeding response, because your boas actually have a worse feeding response probably than the retics. I tell people that all the time. My
I
retics
can
stink
believe
first.
it. I can believe it. Let me tell you, not to cut you off,
No, you
but
go ahead.
my the boas that I'm babysitting for a friend,
Hmm.
her boas, like when they strike, man, it's gonna be some blood somewhere. The poor rat stands no chance. Like what?
I say
So,
that. I said that the other thing was because for me, like you, once I got my first reticulated python, it was like, oh my God, I went crazy. It was a new one every week. I will say the part that you talked about, and I stress that for people, yes, at some point that berm gets so big that you won't be able to pick
mhm,
it up by yourself. I have
mhm,
two retics right now that I cannot pick up
mhm,
by myself without a struggle anyway, or
mhm,
comfortable enough. So my son normally helps me with those, so that's important. But outside
mhm.
of the weight, they're
Right.
actually for me way more, definitely more enjoyable because of their intelligence, but
Yeah.
easier to deal with. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to worry about your boas not eating, because your boas
Right.
will eat every day if you feed them. They are my
Yes.
disposals. So okay, you don't want to
Right.
eat. So how many boas do you have now?
Um, my personal ones, I have three.
Okay.
Um, but I'm also babysitting three, so I have six until I stop babysitting.
You again, I didn't even know you had three. I knew you had purchased a baby one, and then I saw you holding recently a bigger one. I'm like, Lord Jesus, Melly done lost it. She's a big snake girl now. But I
Yes.
will say, I understand people who like the Burmese python. My Burm is even it's just amazing animal. It's a big ball python to me. I think the ones that you have to continue to evolve with is your reticulated pythons and your
Mhm.
boas. Um, to me, boas are harder to manage than it is my reticulated pythons. I can get my reticulated pythons to let go. Boas, when they
Okay.
hold, that strength is different. I don't care what nobody say. Look, let me. I don't care
For
what nobody
real.
say. Hey
For real.
Q, hey Big Tank, Gershon is here. Reptiles and cocktails, Gershon. So I just want to, shout him out for a moment. Him and Q, definitely two big cheerleaders for me in this podcast in the background. Two, I made a comment the other day that it's very little people of my people who support me 110%. Those two are supporting me 110% all the time, and I appreciate them. And Gershon is the reason why I'm doing my podcast the way that I'm doing it because I want what I like about his forum and Keys Constrictors is it's
Mhm.
bringing our community so close together. And when I say
Mhm.
our community, regardless of the color, regardless of the of who you are, where you
Mhm.
work, any of that, it's watching Keys Constrictors podcast. Melly, if you haven't watched one yet, you have to watch one, especially on the Friday night when it's him and all his they call them the usual suspects. I learned so
Okay. I'm
much.
not watching on the Friday.
Ah, I learned so much from them. They are, first of all, they are most all of them, I believe, pretty much are breeders or been breeding for some time. And by us getting into breeding, I
Mhm.
learned so much. Listening to these guys just spit off genetics and pull out snakes. I'm learning through them. So if y'all haven't tuned in, this is a great podcast, and you should tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock. But that is my favorite podcast right now. So the two that I hate to miss is Keys Constrictors and I hate to miss Gershon's podcast. So
Okay. I
they rock.
definitely have to start tuning in regularly.
Yes. They share
Yes.
the love. And I know that and I want you to get into in between these last 2 years. I kind of feel like I don't know, when did you join the bro group?
Um, I want to say almost 2 years ago now. But I can't. It was right after the big video release. The Don't Rush Challenge
Right.
video. That was what caught my eye, and I had one little snake. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're women, and it's a lot of them." I gotta find this place, and I didn't know that the bro group was everybody. I thought it was just women. It didn't matter to me. I just found people that had the same thing that
Found
I
your
had, and I
people.
could share. Yeah,
These
found
are
my
my people.
yes,
Yes. So we joined around the same time.
yeah.
I probably came in literally. First of all, I thought you wasn't in the Don't Rush Challenge.
No, I wasn't. But I've been in everyone since, though. I've been in everyone since, but not the
Okay, so
Don't
then when
Rush.
I'm thinking back, because that was one of my favorites. That's when
Mhm.
I noticed like Candy. I remember
Yes.
like she was so dope in that.
Oh
First she just
my
dope.
God,
Period. I just,
yes.
again, one thing that this hobby introduces to is some very unique individuals.
Yes.
And she's like, you have that person who is just their own person all the way around. Nothing,
Yes.
nobody else is like her. You can't, really. That's what I love about her. I think when I first came to the group, you didn't know if she was crazy, sexy, or cool, right?
And it ends
TLC.
up she's all three.
And I was like, she's just so dope. And then to realize that she actually breeded bearded dragons. So for me, she
Hmm.
was the first black person that I knew who breeded bearded dragons.
Yes. Yes.
So that's really good. So let's talk about your what made you say, okay, I like animals, but now I'm gonna go into the business. Because once you change that mindset that you want to go into the business,
Mm.
like I told my husband, the financial commitment.
Mm.
It's like
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I just like creating things. I don't like the business part of anything. And this is coming from the administrator of a small school. I hate business. I hate paperwork. I am a total right brain type person. I'm creative. I don't like any of that, but I love to make stuff. And I love animals. So to me, getting into the ball pythons and the breeding was combining two things that I love: animals and creativity, art. Like I don't know, I keep thinking about how God created all of us, and He has to be an artist because look at us, and look at everything else that's created. And I'm like, okay, so if He can do it, maybe He can show me how to do it. And I don't know. It was more of just wanting to create things more than the business part. So I
Right.
actually I've asked friends and family to do that part for me and let me just be the face and let them do all the work. Well, that part of the work anyway.
Well, that's
Because
awesome. Well, at least you have that, kind of support within
yeah,
your family.
They
How,
um they keep they keep reminding me that it is a business because if it was left up to me, if someone came up to me and say, I've always wanted one, I'd be like, here you go, take it, and
that
but
part.
I do that with everything. Like even my artwork, my paintings, my mosaics, I've given most of them away when people have always fussed and said, you should have charged. Well, I feel like if it made them happy, then here, it's yours. That's just how I feel.
And see, that's a unique thing about you. That's awesome because I can be honest. I don't give anything away. Uh, and Q, if Q is still here, he would tell you I'm the person who look. Let me say this because I don't want people to take it the wrong way. I'm very supportive. I am a person who does a lot behind the scenes, but I
Hmm.
am not a person that help. I'm the. What did you do to help yourself first? And then if you did something to help yourself first, I'll help you. I'll give you something to support that.
You
Where my
sound
husband is a natural giver.
see, we're the opposite. You sound just like my husband because my husband's like, did they even try?
And see, you gotta have that balance. Because I tell my husband all the time, if somebody asking us for something, like he'll be there and listening, and my eyebrows like the whole time, like I. So yes, I think that it's right now because I just started crossing that. I'm going to go into breeding stage,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the toughest part for me is that I now have a rack of snakes that I'm not naming, number one, which is unlike anything. Everything in this house have a name. But see, this is the thing, Melly. I feel like if I
Right.
name it, I'm not going to be able to treat it like it's a child, right? If I name it, I can't give it away down the line, or I don't want to get attached to the baby.
Oh,
And so I'm working
see,
through that mental process.
I all of mine have names, and I can tell you all 50 of their names, all of them. And I counted all the reptiles, not just the snakes. I have 40 snakes and about 10 or 11 other kind of reptiles. But I can tell you everybody's name. And so when I put them, like if I'm pairing them, I'm talking to them, okay, Spade, you be nice because Eve has not had anybody before and be gentle and blah. I'm talking to them and all this other stuff.
So I was telling somebody the other day, I think it was Gershon. My spider ball is the first male that I actually paired. And that's my favorite snake. So
Mm.
we got one of the newer females, and I went to pair him with her. I'm looking at her. I'm like, look, that's my child. I'm putting him in here. You better be good to him. And I can't see him because they in the and I can't see him. So I'm telling you now, you don't want to do nothing to him. And my son looking at me
Right.
like, she's sitting here talking to like, it's going down. If you heard him.
Right. I totally feel it. I even put music on for mine. Like if I wasn't on here, there would be classic music playing, some kind of music is playing, whatever my mood is. Then
Right.
when it's It's that time. I have to talk with them and let them know. And it's crazy. Don't do this.
Right,
Whoever's
don't judge
watching,
us. Don't judge
don't,
us.
don't. It's just me. This is not how it really works. So,
All right, so let's go to the questions. Gershon says, Melody, how is the female albino doing?
Abby is amazing. She's getting big. She just ate yesterday evening. Um, so yeah, she's Abby's doing great.
Awesome. Did you get her from Gershon?
Yes.
Awesome. So I have a baby. A female is coming from Gershon as well. Excited. So I have quite a few. So this breeding route, I went with. First, I wanted to support our people who are doing big things, right? So Gershon was one. So I definitely was going to get something from him, but fate actually sped that up a little sooner.
Oh.
Um, and so I got a female clown. I think it's het albino coming from him, which clown is a lot that's in my breeding plan. So I have clown, inchi, several desert ghosts is going to be a big piece. I'm having
Ooh.
actually a couple of the females that I got are het desert ghosts. Um, I have a couple males that are het desert ghosts. I have a lot of the yellow belly and orange dream.
Okay.
So, and I just ordered a leopard orange dream calico that I'm going to be putting into the mix. So what I'm trying to do, so what I do is I sit and play on Morph Market Melody. Let me tell you what I do. So I go there and I put in the parents and then
Mm-hmm.
determine what, genetics
Mm-hmm.
is going to give me five or more
Right.
genetics. Because if
Right.
I want to go in, I was telling Gershon, I want to go in hard. So I'm buying a lot of powerful genes. When I go to Tinley in March, I plan on this. I mean, it's easy to spend money on reticulated pythons for me, but when you start spending thousands on ball pythons, it's kind of like it's a different thing because it's a ball python, but I have to change my mindset because now I'm not looking at the size of the snake. I'm looking at the genetics, right? So
Right.
I plan to buy a powerhouse. My husband is going to treat me to in Tinley. I'm looking forward to that, and he's going to go with a lot of my females that does have the inchy in it. So it's it's going to be fun. Most of that you won't see until probably like a year or so down, other than what I compare now. So,
Right.
but you locked up. You locked up, and you purchased a snake and didn't know it was having babies. That was
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Exactly. I'm like, how? But yeah, I looked up that I was not. My plan was not to have any clutches or anything until this year. Whenever I got started, I had only planned to start this year. But
Okay.
that was a very, very, that was a blessing because it helped me see how to do it. It sped me up on getting my incubator and seeing how, okay, I got the one of the least expensive incubators, and I said, okay, it's good for a temporary thing, good this
Right.
product, but I have to invest more money. Um, and if I want to do it and if I want to make this real. So I have to
Right.
invest more money. I know I made a post about building my own, and I made another post about people going to have to help me when I boil these eggs accidentally in my homemade incubator.
So
I'm artistically inclined, not mechanically inclined at all. So
yeah.
it was
I see.
a good
I'm
learning
financially smart. I'm business and financially driven by nature.
process.
Anything that's and my husband gets so frustrated with me because I'm telling you, I go dumb when you ask me to build something to put together. And he forces me to do certain things because he thinks it's just like me trying to play dumb. No, like my brain doesn't act that way. And so I put together like my tarantula rag. I put that together myself. He was so impressed, but it was easy. You take A and put A to B, and then C goes here. That's different. But like
I can
Precious,
follow instructions.
man, when I watch Precious put that incubator together, take apart, girl, I'm like that. Like
I
I
was
was
like, wow,
uptight.
okay,
Like,
go ahead, girl.
she did everything, and that to me is one of my goals. I will never be her. Somewhere she spent a lot of time building things with her dad. I'm sure I was the one outside chasing the boys and stuff. I wasn't in there with the drill. She is amazing with that, and I love watching her
Yes.
videos. She is actually the one who I was telling Q. She did a video on how to establish our business and our trade
Mhm.
mark. And I
Mhm.
watched that video and I hung up the phone the night I watched that video and immediately went online and established my business. Called Vaughn, told her I was going to need her to make my logo, everything. And within 3 weeks, it was all established. And
Mhm.
I say that to say it's very important to pay attention to each other in the business because we all bring something
Mhm.
different. Um,
Very.
we need to be on one accord, not not so competitive that we
Oh
want
yeah.
to be better than the other because we can be as good as a group. Like I can stand right beside you, Melody, and we'll rock out totally different, but we'll both
Exactly.
be successful. And so I'm very supportive of us in that way, especially the women, because for me, I've always kind of been showered and surrounded around the men in
Same.
reptiles.
Mhm.
But the bro platform gave me a world of women like me, not just like me. You guys are successful women. Like I watch you and what you do. First of all, to be an administrative any school right now, today, hands down, is amazing. And we need to just shout out all of our administrators, our school
Yes.
principals,
Lord.
teachers,
Mm.
nurses, doctors, all the people who are on the front lines that can't just say, I'm going to work from home.
Right.
you
Yes.
know, um, you guys had some new challenges in the last, few years,
Yeah.
and so has our healthcare. So shout out to everybody. Um, Q says Nicole hands down is the most supportive person I know, but she is also about her business. Also, she wants those around her to be all about their business and not being taken advantage of. That's right. If
Mhm.
you're going to do it the right way, as what me and Melody talk about. So I get on him all the time, and I won't go into detail, but you have to protect what you created by
Mhm.
all means necessary. Because as much as we would think that everybody take our intentions for
Yeah.
good, we have
Yeah.
seen it over and over again, especially with some of our
Yes.
own, that
Yes.
that can be taken away from you. So I appreciate what I've seen in the last 2 years. A lot of us have realized that we needed to establish ourselves
Mhm. I agree.
legitimately in breeding and everything. And I
Mhm.
think that we are doing such an awesome and amazing job. So for me, I like to I'm so real with people. I like for people to be supported, but with the truth. I'm not the friend to call when you just want to hear that. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Everything that you did is this, that. No, no, no. I'm the friend who will shit on you to clean you up. So don't call me.
Yeah.
But I expect the same. Like I will reach out to you. I we're gonna have John's memorial later, but
Mhm.
before John passed away, he was literally giving me a hard time about myself. It was funny. We laughing because that's just what we did. But I something I had to reach out to him about, and he pretty much said what he had to say, and I was like, "Did you just call me that?" And like he said, "Yeah." He said, "This is what you're acting like right now." Okay, okay. I think
He did not mind. He does not. He did not mind calling folks out. And I was like, and then he used to say, Mel, did you think this was too harsh? I'm like, well, you said it now, so I don't. What?
your Texas sisters are here. Candy and Chantel are here. Two of the
Hi,
original
Kiki.
reptile queens.
Oh my
Let's
God.
see. What did Q say? Q has a question. This question is for you both. Us guys had a lot of men to look up to in the hobby to say, I want to be like Steve
Mm,
Irwin. I want to be like Jack Hanna. Who was
Mm-hmm.
it, if anyone, that y'all looked up to? For
Steve Irwin.
me, Tracy Barker. Um,
Ah,
I because for me, growing up, she was I don't I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Some of y'all ball python enthusiasts out there. Tracy Barker is the only female that I knew growing up who was breeding ball pythons and teaching and educating. A lot of the men in reptiles, that was their mentor, Tracy Barker. I know Kevin and um, Brian, they talk about her a lot. But I think for me, she was that for me, but also was Steve Irwin. Like, I didn't want to, I mean, if you talk about who made me want to just go and wrangle an alligator, it was Steve. It was okay for it to be, Steve Irwin for me. What about you, Melanie?
I really Steve Irwin, of course, Jack Hanna from the beginning, and I don't know, like we're country, so my uncle is the person that got me started with it. I worked for a vet for a little while, so I had like people that were close to me in my vicinity that I looked up to because
Right.
I wasn't for a long time. I didn't even watch TV, so I that's a whole story in itself. So I didn't really know about any of that. The women that in the industry, I don't even know. If I haven't found out in the last 2 years, I don't know. I never heard of. Tell me the lady's name again so I can write it down because I have
Tracy
a pen.
Barker.
Tracy
Yep,
Parker.
Tracy Barker. Yep, Google Tracy Barker. I mean, she's way back there with like Bob Clark.
Okay.
Um, so when it came down, I cannot remember. It could be one of. It was a ball python book that I actually was reading, and they actually had a whole like page or so just talking about her contributions into the ball python breeding hobby and things like that. So,
I've been
um,
looking her up. I didn't as far as just animals in general, female would be Jane Austen.
oh wow,
But
yeah,
yeah, it's not just women. For me, it was not a lot of women. I didn't see any. So
right.
I looked at who was out there. So whoever it was, that's who I learned from. I did more reading in books than any kind of watching TV or anything when I was younger.
Yeah.
Um, so as I got older, I came across more people on TV or whatever. But Jack Hanna and Steve Irwin have all my votes because that's who I liked. But
So it was funny. I
but
never
I'm
knew
glad.
that Jack Hanna was. I always thought he was somewhere from Australia. And then one day I lived in Columbus, Ohio for a few years, and we went to the zoo, and walking in it had Jack Hanna Zoo. I'm like, oh my god, and he was there. And it was one of the only zoos I ever went to who had like kangaroos and things like that actually outside of the cages, just kind of hopping around the zoo. It was pretty dope. But they did a lot of teaching and educating at that zoo. Kind of reminds you of when you go to Disney to SeaWorld and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, for me either it wasn't like I'm loving the women coming out the woodwork now.
Yeah,
The women.
that's
I think social media gave women in reptiles
a platform.
a platform.
Yes.
Absolutely,
True. And that's what
absolutely.
I was gonna say because now all of us coming out, and then the other females that I see on YouTube and all of that, it's really good because now girls have somebody that they can look up to, which
Yep.
is I'm a girl. I looked up to some guys, but just to have somebody, somebody else out there, women, black women, anybody. I think that's good, and that's one of my goals. I love to help people, and I like to educate. So if I could be that person that helps another little girl come along and get into it, then that's what I want to do. I don't know. I think we should all do that. Spread the
Yeah.
love, spread the information, spread everything.
And we have different contributions to give. So again,
Mhm.
I think it definitely has given us a platform. For me, um, I don't think I actually do much outside of my reptile friends and family. I guess with COVID, I don't like to do much.
Right.
Now outside of my personal family, anyway, my reptile family actually has become closer as far as day to day than my own friends that I actually grew up with, which is really weird. I mean, my best friend, she lived through even college all of my crazy reptile experiences. Like I had birds that died. I would do autopsies on them because I went to school for mortuary science, and so
What?
she has been through. She has been through. She would tell you like, "Lord, I done seen it all. I done seen it all." She would dissect something in a minute. So if something dies, even now, I have that thing that I just need to do an autopsy. I need to know why it died
Right.
and determine, the why. But it's crazy. Um, so Edward asks, "Hey Criselda, Edward asks, what's something interesting that you are looking forward to breeding next?" So where are you with your breeding plans? Because we know you got the eggs. What did you do? Were all the eggs successful? Did all of them live? Were all of them viable?
Oh, I had 5,
Okay.
and um, 3 are still with me. One didn't make it out of the egg.
Okay.
Another one, the second one, he didn't absorb all of the yolk sac,
Okay.
and it was hard to get him to feeding, so he did not make it.
Okay.
It was very hard to do that. But so he didn't make it. So now I have 3 left. 2 are sold. I'm waiting to be able to go on and ship them out. The weather is warming up, so I could probably do
Go
that soon.
Melody!
Yay! and then I'm keep, and then I'm keeping the last one. But yeah, so I'm
That's
really proud of
awesome. See, I
myself.
just want to get to the point where my animals give birth, they eat well, and I ship my first reptile. Then I'm gonna feel like I've made it. I've arrived.
Right. I Here's one. This is the one that I'm going to keep. I'm going to be keeping.
Okay. So
Wait,
did
let me.
you ever get the genetics confirmed? Because I know you wasn't sure with some of them. Like, what did that one end up being?
I'm thinking that this is a king spin. At first,
Okay.
Me and John were going back and forth. Because he said, "Is it a king pin or a king spin?" I would at first I was saying, "Did you see him just strike?"
No, I didn't. Oh.
Yeah. But at first I was thinking it was no spider in them because I couldn't really tell. I knew it was pinstripe. There she goes again.
Okay.
Did you see? I'm gonna hold it like this so you can see. But
She looking
then I
like the
saw
camera.
one of them does this have a little wobble. This one actually sometimes,
Okay.
and so I was like, okay, they have spider. They have spider. So I think it's a queen spin, and then I have a king spin, and then let me show you this one. And
Okay.
I
So we got Antoine from High Desert is here. So Antoine, if you could see that snake, tell us what the genes were. See if you can confirm. See, like he's one of them. They can just look at him and just start.
Okay, well let me hold it up for you. Hold on. I don't
Yeah,
know.
everything looks the same to me. Yellow belly look like black pastel. Like I'm still struggling. Cause see, yeah, what's the? So it definitely has to have some type of pinstripe in it, right? Or if you can see.
My the female is an hold on, let me get my genetics book out. But I think it's an
Okay.
inchy pinstripe um pastel inchy
Okay.
pinstripe, and I just didn't know what the dad was. But yeah, I have everybody down. Um yeah, but my see, I have too much paper, too many notebooks.
Girl, we learn, and we in school. That be me.
I promise you, I just used to sit. The whole first Inchy Kingpin is what she was.
Okay.
And so therefore I'm pretty sure that's what they are.
Okay.
Um, but here's the other one. You saw how white that one was, but then look at this.
So that would could it be a spider bee? Well, no, it's not a
Um,
bumblebee because bumblebee would have a little the darker color.
yeah.
That's pretty though. I actually like
Mhm.
that color.
So
And you
yeah,
lucked up. They're nice.
yes, I really did, and I
Yeah,
just
you
wish.
lucked up.
Now from them I learned the importance of keeping track of who you're putting together. The genetics are very important because I might have a something big on my hand, but I can't confirm it,
That's right.
and therefore I will never get the full value for it. Just because I don't know.
Yep.
Um, so I have to go with what it could possibly be. And from now on, though, I'm trying to keep everything in order, keep everything documented and stuff because I want to be able to say, yes, this is what this is, definitely.
Yeah, and so it's so many. That was another thing that I learned this year. There's so many programs to keep records of reptile breeding, and so
Hmm.
Gershawn sent me on a path of several, and I actually ended up using the one on my phone. But it's a reptile breeding system. Like I can track the feeding of
Hmm.
each reptile, the genetics from birds. Every time that I'm pair them, I can track the dates and um, follicular growth. Because girl, the hardest part for me has been using this sonogram because everything looked like a follicle to me. So I finally think this
Look,
week I've crossed a bridge of where I'm doing better with this and was actually able to measure a couple of follicles accurately because before I was like, this could be the gallbladder. I don't know what this is. So playing with the sonogram has been a lot of fun. Advice that I
I,
got, if you get
I
a
want to be
sonogram
able. Uh
and you
huh.
don't go with that $2,500 one and you go with the
Hmm.
contact one, which I paid $1,200 for, which was highly recommended from people in the group. The additional recommendation I got was from Antoine to get the mouse. So I got the mouse because it's
Yeah.
easier if you're doing it by yourself to sono the snake and freeze frame and things like that and measure. So, but I do think that I'm glad I invested in the sono machine first because I learned not to really pair up the animals unless the female is producing follicles. I guess not to wear the male out or whatever. Although Busy acts
Yeah.
like he just like jumping, humping around like R. Kelly. He
No.
doesn't matter. He just like feed me in between if you can. Sometimes he'll eat in between, sometimes he won't. But he locks quickly with anything you put him with.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on. Where is he? My male that I've been putting with, he's a spider spade. He's a spinner blast, and
Okay.
he's
Which is a
pastel,
spider in lemon blast.
spider, pastel.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this is his first year breeding, and he locks with. I got three girls that I put him with, and he locks with them. I wish I had an ultrasound machine that I could see if they're actually growing follicles or whatever. Because as much as I put them in there with, I still see no signs of any.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I also, because I run the school, I don't have as much time to just sit and dedicate to this as I want. I would love to just do this, only this, and be able to just go to my school and then come back to this, I don't know, 50-50 more of a,
Right.
equal. But
So I
right
keep
now,
telling my husband, I just want to be in a place where, because I love what I do. I just don't want to do it full time. I would want this to be something that I
hmm,
can put more into and do that part time. But I think that, especially with the uncertainty of the reptile world, I think so much it's put me at um, not at ease that, back in the day where people were actually breeding. They had their challenges, but it seems like now we're even more challenged. And I don't know, I think it's twofold. I think that social media is kind of like in
Mm.
our disadvantage. Because it's great when you're showing your animals and you're educating people, or you're showing like your path and how you establish your business,
Yeah. Yeah.
opposed to there's a whole nother group of people out there who misrepresent how we really
Mhm.
do care for these animals.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of, I always think I want to make sure that I'm have my own personal finances, at least for health
Mhm.
wise, make sure that our benefits and things like that are covered. But I would love to be able to spend most of my time just with my reptiles. First of all, it's my happy place. I don't like people that
Yeah.
much as I love
Well,
animals.
well, okay. This is my happy place, but I love people too. I just wish like when I feel some type of way, if I'm tired and I come into my shed, my snake shed.
Yep.
I'm a corny person. My snake shed, and I get energized. I get re-energized, and I can stay in here once I get off of work and I make it home about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I'm in here till 11, 12 at night, easy. When
Exactly.
and then I go to bed. Then I wake up in the morning about 5, and I come back out here until I have to go to work. This is, that's my life now, and I wouldn't
Right.
change it for anything because they make me happy. They keep me calm. It's amazing. I just love them.
And that's the message that people need to understand. I don't think people understand a world without reptiles will create a whole bunch of sociopaths. I know I would be one. I say seriously, most people who own reptiles, whether we admit it or not, we have some type of social or mental disorder. It don't mean it have to be we totally crazy. I'm not calling us crazy, but it's something like for me, and my husband would tell anybody that reptiles literally controls my anger. Cause girl, I can go from 0 to 100, put a snake in my hand, and I'm back at 0.
Oh,
Like I can just, or it controls my anxiety. Like if it's something that's really pressuring on my mind or my
yeah,
heart, put a reptile in my hand,
yeah,
the world just goes away. And I think that that is for a lot of us, a
yeah,
lot of us. And yes, we love our animals, but it's not just that we love them; they are, and we need them.
yeah.
Um, One of the guys I followed on YouTube, his name is Steve. I believe that's his real name, but his YouTube channel was mostly snakes, and he
Mhm.
lives in Alabama, I believe, where they banned all large animals
Oh,
last
mm,
year, and he had to get rid of his retics. And
mm,
he shared that he had a mental breakdown. And I mean, this man the reason why I watched his channel, his humor, he was so funny, upbeat. And then he showed you retics in a good light. But he disappeared. And so with me, I don't like people to come and go. I was telling Cutest when John passed away, the hardest part for me is that it was like he was here and then he was gone, and then we didn't have
mhm,
like a funeral or nothing to memorialize him in
mhm,
between. And I felt that's what was causing my I guess because people, death is a part of life, we know that.
mhm,
But
mhm.
what was causing my anxiety behind his death was the fact that he was here and then he was just gone. And I don't like for people, whether I know you personally or not, to just be present and not present. So for like
Mm.
a year, I didn't see he wasn't posting any new videos. I don't post often in Retic Nation. So I went in Retic Nation and said, "Look, do anybody know where he is?" And someone actually had him inbox me. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm actually planning on having him on here because he was a large part of my decision making into the larger snakes as well. But I also want him to talk about, I've always said that if you look at previous videos, if you hear me when I'm at Nerd, Kevin is another one. His animals provides a mental treatment for him.
Mm.
And a
Mm.
lot of people don't know it. He's very honest and candid about it, that he struggles from anxiety and depression, and that his animals provide that peace to him. I think a lot of us are like that. I know my son is special needs. I share that. I watched him
Mhm.
where now, even as an adult, animals calm him. So we have to be conscious of that. That when the government thinks about things like that, that's always my message.
Yeah.
Y'all don't realize the therapy they provide.
That's true. I think maybe it's because they are so calm. They're not hyper. Dogs can get you hyped up because they get hyper and they're jumping
Right.
everywhere. Whereas with snakes, they're just there. Then they move a little, and it's just so calm. They're calm, and so it kind of keeps you calm. You relax with it. That I
Right.
have. Yesterday, I took two of my snakes two of my snakes with me, the new big boa, and one of my babies at school asked for Cleopatra, which is one of my big normals. And so I took them, but I also took my new little puppy. So you
Okay.
gotta have the kids running around chasing the puppy. Yeah, just as excited. Then you have the rest of them who are sitting around with the two snakes, and they're just as calm. I'm like, okay, look at this. Crazy, calm. Okay. And, the animal brings out different things in you. So,
Yep.
one of the two big ones, my two snakes ended up with two of my children that I trust with them, and they kept them. They were just walking around. At my school, you're allowed to do your work whichever way you want to do it. You
That's
don't have to
good.
necessarily sit at a desk.
That's
So one
good.
of them, we were outside, and one of them said, "Miss Patterson, can I get the snake?" I was like, "Sure." And the other one, "Miss Patterson, can I get the other snake?" "Sure." And they just walked around outside, and they did whatever they wanted to do with the snake around them for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They just were calm, and they sat in their little corner. Everybody else was somewhere else, and it was just them and the snake. And that's how my children are with them. Whenever I bring them, it just calms them down. They,
Yeah,
I,
it's a true reality, and I think that it needs to be actually studied more because I'm telling you that stop with all of the other medication. If you start using reptiles to especially re-anchor children's behavior, I see
Mhm.
that all the time. That's what we should do. So I don't want to avoid Edward's question. His question was specific to what's something interesting that you are looking forward to breeding next. So what is your big major breeding plan?
Pieds, any
Okay.
kind of pied.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
So, and that's a recessive gene.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So I have that's my one of the bigger ones, but I also wanted to do something with clowns. I have a couple that are head clown, but I only have
Hmm.
one visual clown, and it's a male. But my heads are female, and they're not even a year old, so it's gonna be a while before I get to that.
Yes.
Unless I look up on an adult female. Um, but basically, the biggest thing for me right now is pies. Basically because I love the way they look, and I would love to
Hmm.
have every kind of pie, but yeah, that's my
Yeah.
besides it.
You built a reptile shed, which was very impressive. How far is it from your house? How far do
Uh,
you have to walk from the house to the shed?
I have a little walkway from my front porch to the front door of
Okay.
the shed, so it's
Okay.
like 2 feet. It's in my yard.
Good. 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 And then, what made you decide I need a shed, or let me go the route of the shed? Just outgrew the house.
Yes, they were taking over the living room, and my friends refused to come over. So they're my sisters, and some of my brothers. Um, they said, "Now we ain't coming back to the house till they gone." So I was like, "Okay, it is a lot of them. It's about 15, so I might need to move on." And we got the shed, and now people started coming back to the house, and then they actually visit the shed too, but they could do it on their own terms. So
Gotcha.
that was
Yeah, so it's funny. All of my animals are on the second level of our house. But when people come in here, even though they know that I have them, like my brothers and them came for the first time since the second room had been taken over. And they came December. And they walked in the house and they tiptoeing. Where are the snakes? I'm like, you're standing right in here with them. Like they literally, you walked into the room with you. But to my point
exactly.
is, you don't even know they here. Like that's how harmless they
Say it
are.
again. Say it
Like
louder
you
for the
here.
folks in the back. Cause
Right.
some of one of our friends came over, and this was before we got the shed, and I had all of them on one wall, but I had a little curtain draped over them because I knew he was
Mhm.
coming over. And he sat there, I don't know, 2, 3 hours. And then one of my other friends came over who came specifically to see the snake. She came and she said,
Mhm.
"Can we see the snakes?" And I lifted the curtain and he went to cussing and fussing. "They've been in here the whole time." Oh, I said, "See, you didn't even know. You,
You didn't know. They wasn't.
you didn't
They
even
didn't.
know."
So share for the people, what steps did you have to go to insulate and
Ew.
heat your reptile shed?
Okay, so the insulation is just a regular fiberglass insulation. Did it just like a house, I assume. Insulation, sheetrock. Um, but the heating part, I have a window unit for air,
Okay.
and I have like a kind of a space heater, but it rotates and you have a thermostat and all of that as far as for the ambient heat. I have heat lamps for the dragons, and I
Okay.
have heating pads for some of the snakes. I have heating pads, heating tape, heating cord, depending on what kind of enclosure the snakes are in. And
Okay.
what I have to come in regularly to make sure that the temperature stays the way it should. It's a constant thing, especially with this crazy weather that Mississippi has. Like in the morning, we're at 30 degrees. By 12, we're at 70. And I have to run from the school to check to make sure everything's still good. It's a lot. I hope to one day be able to get central air and heating. That will help out a lot. But I don't know how I'm
Okay.
going to do that in a little shed. It'll work out.
Yeah, maybe like a little window unit, something where someone can actually cut and actually put
And
it
then put
in
it
the
in.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think for me, and it won't be no time soon. It would be when we sell this house and move, or I don't think I'll ever sell this house. At least when we move.
Hmm.
Um, I want not necessarily a shed, but another part of that I
Hmm.
can just have nothing but reptiles. Now I want it to be a nice size. I want the floors to be like I had my home bitch. I wanted the floors to have be really pretty with my logo in it. So I have big
Hmm.
dreams of that, but that's going to be probably more when we move to like Texas or somewhere like that, which is a goal. I want that's where I want to end up. I want to be in Texas, and that's
Why
well,
not
as my husband
Mississippi
said.
though?
But the thing is this: that was because all the time is because of the weather. But now we're having better weather than Texas. Like literally yesterday, it was 60 degrees here. And then I'm talking to people in other places, and it's snow and it's ice and cold in North Carolina and South Carolina. I'm like, it's 60 degrees here in Maryland, which tells you something is definitely going on with global warming because it's
Yeah,
totally, totally
exactly.
different. So,
Hey,
how did you
Chriselda.
feed your animals? Did you feed all on one day? Or,
I
like, I
I
couldn't
used
feed
to
all on one day.
I used to be able to feed them all in one day.
Okay.
But now most times it's half one day, then half the next day. Because not only am I feeding, I'm spot cleaning or fully cleaning as I go. I try to do all of that together. So it becomes a big job now with so many animals, and nobody wants to eat frozen thawed. I have to make a post because yesterday I bought like 15 frozen rats from somebody. Let me show you the baby that I just bought.
Okay.
Um, Come on, little girl. I
Oh.
Yes, I just bought her, and the lady that I bought her from said, "Well, here's her food," and it was like 15 or so frozen rats, and I was
Okay.
like, "Okay, who's gonna eat this?" And because mine don't eat frozen thawed. They will not. So after that, 10 of them did eat, but I still had 5 left over. But then I dropped the live rats in, and they're eating. They don't care about that. They'll take a live one. So
Well, I think
it's
with the live, it's more of a survival thing. Like I gotta kill and eat you,
mm,
because you're in here with
maybe
me. I've been successful with the largest thing. The retics don't care. You can put dead, live,
it
dead,
doesn't matter.
tall. Yeah, they don't care. The boas don't care. My ball pythons. My pad was the hardest to get to go on frozen thawed. It took literally. I feel like I had to starve her. I had to literally say, "I'm not going to feed you
Yeah.
until you eat."
Mm.
But with the new hatchlings I have, all of them actually, even though they all were feeding live, took frozen thaw except for 2.
That's
Yeah, and then
good.
my green tree python, he just wants live. He does not, even though when I got him, he took frozen thawed at first, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe they just hadn't fed him for a while and he had no
Oh,
choice because every time after that, he was like, I'm not eating that. But
mm,
put the live thing in here and then I'll eat it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think having the bigger snakes is fun for feeding to me, and I love the water monitors in my tables because I just something about a pleasure of feeding your animals. Like I don't know,
Mm.
it's like I guess when you're giving, they're your kids. So I love laying out nice spreads for the Tego and Asia water monitors, and you know they're going to eat all of it. They're
Mm.
just going to eat it all. I would say, what has been your hardest challenge as far as transitioning into breeding that you think, like whether it was the financial or the building, what was the hardest for you?
Um, the Lord worked everything out. I am broke as a joke, but yet I have all of this. I literally don't know how I continue to do this. So I could say financial. I promise you, if I had money, it would be a whole lot more stuff. It would be, I would have a little building, a storefront. I don't know. So it's
Mm-hmm.
probably the financial part, actually the business aspect of it, the details and the paperwork, getting your LLC, getting all of that stuff. That was
Mm-hmm.
the hardest part for me. The actually taking that part seriously and sitting down and do it. That's the hardest part. The
The
rest
hardest
of
part for mm-hmm. The hardest part for me is what you said. Not necessarily financial, but now that it's a business, I have to track it, and I'm
mm-hmm,
not like I do that for work. I don't want to do it at home, so I really have to push myself to log in receipts and track this
right.
information for documentation purposes. It's hard, but like my husband said, you're owning a business and you have a tax benefit from that. If you don't record properly, then you just running a business. So
Yes, and see, my cousin was here a little while ago, and he said, "Well, how are you keeping up with the paperwork? How much have you invested?" And those words in my mind made me remember, okay, this is a business.
yep,
Investing. I'm not just buying new toys. I'm
yep.
investing money. It's just having to switch the words around in my head to make sure that I keep reminding myself this isn't just a hobby anymore, Melody, which I just want it to be a hobby. I just want it to be fun. I don't want all the
And
rest of
so
that.
we can do both. So that's what I told. That's why I'm not naming them because that's my balance. In order for me to operate a business
Hmm.
and to still, have fun with it, I have to make sure my mental don't because this thing can just drive me crazy when I'm trying to do something, trying to make something happen. Um,
Yeah.
so you're right.
I
I think the biggest thing for me was when I was buying ball pythons before. Hey, hi, hey, Raina. Hey, 41 South. When I was buying ball pythons before, I was focused on what I liked. I want this
got
because the way it looked. Now I'm like, okay, let me
yeah.
see what I can
Same,
create.
same,
How much would this
same.
cost? And how much I could sell the babies for? And what would be my return on investment? That is the hard part for a person who was
Yes.
a hobbyist because now your whole mental. But that's again what I'm doing is surrounding myself in the hobby with the people who are in the business side of it. So that's why I'm in tune with everybody's podcast and Instagrams and
Yeah.
all of that. I started following Aussie Boyd more. Not that I'll ever be
Mhm.
an Aussie, but it's a goal. Okay,
See,
$1 million on ball pythons. It's a goal.
I talk to the one thing I love about the bro group is that it's so many down to earth people who are either like just ahead of me or far ahead of me
Yep.
that I can reach out to on a personal level. The, Chriselle, Candy, Chantel, Q, Jorel, and of course John, Chris Hobbs.
Mhm.
I can just name a lot of people who I feel comfortable talking to or reaching out to. I feel that if we had someone that was super big, had a super big name, it would not. I would be too intimidated to approach them. Not so much I'm scared of them, but like, oh, I don't want to bother them. I'll
Mhm.
just, I like the way that we are personally invested and we make each other feel comfortable. Um, like Precious, I want to reach out to her all the time, but then my mind's like, oh, I know she's busy. She's doing a lot. I'll just wait. I'll do it another day. I always put it off. I've reached out to her a few times. We've talked and everything, but every if she knew how much I wanted to call and talk and ask questions, she'd be like, "Oh, okay, I didn't even know," but I just don't want to bother her, and I I want to be able to help other people who aren't even in the group. Have someone to reach
Yeah.
out to. You know, um, and I know that Precious would definitely talk to me. It's just a mental thing. It's not anything at all, but it's a mental thing. But I love that everybody is growing, and as we grow, we get to help other people too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to me.
So I have a balance. I'm a little bit more assertive. So I don't care
Hmm.
who you are, right? So I
I
had a,
noticed.
I
I
actually
see.
had a conversation with Aussie Boy, like literally, like Instagram. Oh, you on Instagram? Okay.
But
So
you
I
see
have a balance.
how
There are
you you see how we are so different yet we're alike, and
we're
both of
alike,
us
right?
can. Yes,
Right.
and I think both of us kind of cover the whole spectrum, like, and bring it together. I don't know if you
But
understand what
my
I'm saying.
interpretation of you from the outside looking in is like how you just spoke about Precious, and I'm gonna share this. First of all, Precious is going to respond. She's as excited as you are. I For me, I know that she's really been busy and doing her thing, buying her home and stuff like that. So I didn't want to bother her first, but she was one of the first
Hmm.
people. In fact, the very first person I purchased apparel from was Precious Pythons, and to this day, it's one of my favorite cute little summer. I have seven of them. I had one for every day of the week, crop top to wear. But she's very responsive. But the way you felt about Precious is if I had the mindset or felt like you did, I would have felt the same way about you. Because what we don't realize, you don't realize what how other people like how I view you. I admire you. Like you're that Precious. You know how you just said you looked at Precious. I looked at you, but Melody, hey, I'm doing this podcast, girl. You want to be a part of it, I don't care. But I think that we don't realize the impact. Like the girl that I had on the very first podcast, she actually DM'd me and said to me, I bought my first retic because of you, because of your YouTube video. I didn't know who she was. And now we talk all the time. Jordan is down in the group. Really cool. But what she showed me is that I have an impact on a whole community of
Hmm.
Gen Z white females. I
Hmm.
didn't think that was my audience. And so now it told me to tailor, make sure that I'm conscious of who's watching me. Because
Hmm.
even though you don't see that person is hitting the like and the subscribe button or something like that, because we don't recognize YouTube a lot. They don't have their pictures of ourselves. It's normally a logo or something. I'm
Hmm.
very conscious. So even from a business standpoint, I had to change my mindset of how I market Lady T's Exotics.
Yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes that I made that I'm not willing to change now, but if I had been more business minded before, I wouldn't have named my brand Lady Tiz Exotics, because when I go to sell my apparel, that's what man is going to walk around. Well, there are some, like he would for sure. He would rock my hoodie. But Lady Tiz Exotics is more of a feminine boldness.
Yeah. But
But
I think
when I thought of it though, I thought of Precious. And I
mm,
love the royalty in her. So there is an audience, but how I restricted a part of my buying, my selling potential, because I
mm,
went with Lady Tiz Exotics.
I see what you mean. I don't think you should change it, but I do see from a business point of view.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Um,
Yeah.
so think it like my Patterson's pythons and pets. I just like to rhyme, and it was all peas, and I didn't really think it through. We went through a few names, and that one
Yeah,
was
because there was
more
another one that I thought was pretty cool too. What was it? It was another one.
melodies morphs.
Yes, Melodies Morph. Melodies Morph. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that's the one I voted for.
yes. And I really like that one, but then I was like, okay, what if something happens and I leave it to my children or my
Yep.
grandchildren or whatever? So I'm trying to think, I just was trying to do that. Or what if a nephew or niece decides they want to take it over? So and then and right now I think it's too long. I don't know. It's just but it is what it is, and I love
I
it.
love it. I think first of all, your logo is amazing, and I
Thank
think
you,
that the
Vaughn.
name goes with the logo. So I love the colorful logos. I love the impactful logos, and I think what I like about yours is that it still has a feminine presence in it. Like, it's not so bold that it took away from Melody. You
Yes.
know?
Vaughn, she asked me. We just stayed on the phone for like I don't know 45 minutes or so, and she figured out what I wanted when I didn't even know, and she put my personality in there and everything. And all I said was something like, "Make it creative." And make it colorful, but I don't want it to look like a kindergarten teacher because I'm a teacher. Now. It's I want people to take me seriously, but
Yeah.
still know that I'm fun and soft, and that's what she came up with. And
Well,
so,
shout
yeah,
out to Vaughn because, first of all, her talent is above this
yeah,
world. Me too. Like I said, I called her on a whim, and she was on the phone with me late at night. And I know my time it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not sure what time it was for her. And same thing. I'm like, these are the colors I want. I know I want two big snakes like this. Like that's all I knew. And I said, but these are the colors. Just be creative. Put your
hmm
thing on it. And literally, it seemed like I closed my eyes and opened my eyes, and my logo was created, and I was in
yes,
love, in
yes,
love. So shout out to Vaughn Guyton. Vaughn will be on here. Um, she's bad. She's bad. And
yeah,
so now, and for everything that I order through Vaughn. She has made my she's done she did my skirt for me. Sometimes I use it as a backdrop too on for my videos, and it just looks so even my husband said it's so rich. Everything she does, she takes your vision seriously.
hmm
That's because she's doing what we're doing too. So she know it's not a game, like, we really trying to do this. And so she don't want to
hmm
just give us anything with her name on it that's trash. And I appreciate that.
right,
I
yes,
appreciate that. Every logo that I've seen that she has done, it's out of this world.
yes.
Out of
Look,
this world.
I try my best to or get stuff from the people in the group. That's my way of
Hmm.
supporting everybody. My way of promoting and supporting the bro group.
Yep.
But between Vaughn, Chriselda came up with my t-shirt that I'm not wearing today, but the one with me pointing at my back saying always
Yes.
remember my
The Boston one I
bigger.
love. I love that one.
Yes, Chriselda in Solace did that.
I love that
So
one. Hello,
I
Nana.
love yes, because I think I was telling them a story. So I was at a gas station and somebody saw my shirt and or I had a snake or something, and it was some older white men. They said, that's what you do? Have I think I've seen you. I was like, yeah, and I have this many at home and blah, and they had all these questions. And they was like, don't be offended, but and you know you got some big balls. I said I sure do.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty dope. So I haven't. I had actually asked Reg. So Reggie is another person in the group. Reggie from Reggie's Urban Jungle, who does give me a lot of impromptu because I can just hit him up about breeding and he'll give me responses as well. But his brand of clothing is what I visualize I want, like the style that I want.
Mhm.
And so he actually shared with me his connects. I just haven't sat down and, actually went through it. I also have, which is my sister's best friend, Shaw. Shaw makes clothes, and she's going to make my outfits that I'm going to be wearing because I'm coming to Tinley, y'all, like it's gonna be hooked. I'm busting in Tinley for the first time, so it's gonna be my first time in Tinley. So I wanted like something that shows my personality, and I love cat suits and body suits. I don't.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've always been. First of all, I'm built with a very small waist and a huge butt, so it's more comfortable. That's the reason behind that. So if y'all notice, if y'all watch my videos, I have a lot of stretch pants and stuff like that because I can't wear jeans that often
Mm.
because of that. So I wanted to her to make me a for each day at Tinley. I want a really, really, really nice cat suit with my logo on the back. So yeah. So what about you? Are you going to go to Tinley this year, or are you going
I,
to?
my husband wanted to stop in and say hi.
Hey,
Oh,
look, yeah, hi, super husband, super husband. So shout
no.
out to all the husbands who hold these women down. Yes,
Yes.
you guys
Yes.
are amazing. We love the love. We love the love.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So, and plus, at least he will hold snakes. My husband don't do it.
Yes.
He will support. He is my biggest cheerleader in the background, but he does not do animals at all. So I think it's awesome when you have a spouse that will, interact with them as well, because God forbid when you're sick
Hmm.
or something like that to have that backup. So big shout out to y'all. We love the love. We think we know you anyway. You know,
Right.
right? We know you anyway.
She make me sound good.
No, you can tell. You can tell a man by how his wife smiles and how his
I
children
see.
smile. You can't right. You can't lie about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And she smiles even when you're not around. So we
Yes.
know the
She
difference.
has a beautiful smile.
Oh,
Yes,
bye
she
bye.
does.
Bye.
Oh,
He like, hurry up with that podcast, girl.
boy.
Oh, Mary C said that's my cousin.
Oh yes, that's see. Mary is my business. She does the business parts. That's my cousin,
Okay.
right?
That's awesome. That's awesome that you have all of that family support, because it's needed. We're not even where we're going to go, and we're already busy.
Right.
So we need it. We
Yeah.
need it.
I was gonna say something before he came in. I can't even remember.
Yes, we need it. So anybody have any questions in the chat? Please, please, please ask your questions. Ask your questions. So I had, yes, Raina. So what she one day someone asked, who do it was a post, say what celebrity you look like, and I swear, when
Who
you
did you?
said that you look like Rudy, every
Hmm.
time I see you smile, that's what I see now is Rudy. You do. I was like, oh my God, that's who she do look like Rudy. Even if you
Yeah.
look at Rudy as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
y'all look alike.
I think, especially when we were little, it was a lot of people thought that. And then, in 2019, when me and my husband went to Hawaii for our anniversary, somebody pulled, it was a couple of people following them. Like, now they know Rudy don't have no dreads. I mean, like, are you Keisha Knight Pulliam? You you in disguise or something? Like, what? How? Okay, no, thank you. You know.
So my
But yeah.
husband always get mistaken as Michael Vick, and I get so annoyed. First of all, I told my husband, I said, now we might be flying first class, but I don't think Michael Vick will be just walking through like we stood in security. And then sometimes they'll be like, I mean, one time it was two guys and they followed us all the way to our terminal. And he was like, can I get your autograph? I mean, if my husband was standing right here right now, I always, because first of all, Michael Vick is fine. You fine too, babe, but Michael Vick is fine. This is not Michael Vick. And if it was Michael Vick, I don't think we will be sitting here at Southwest Airlines or American Airlines right here
You
in
never
ATL
know.
trying to get on a plane.
You never know. You never know.
I
Cause
mean, I guess that's true. Because I guess some celebrities, but he don't look that much like my husband is much taller than Michael Vick. So
oh,
my husband loves it. He thinks it's the coolest thing. It annoys the crap out of me. Like,
my
no,
my well, my husband. People always think you used to play. I know you. I saw you on TV. You played for, and they always thought he like no, he doesn't. He didn't. Never did. He's just a tall, black, bald headed guy.
Never played. That is too funny. What would you
Yeah.
say to a little girl or boy today
Hmm.
who loves animals and want reptiles, but their parents won't let them have?
Okay. So this is a real situation for me because that's my whole school and the jokingly the first thing I say is okay, pick what you want and you can keep it at my house and then you can come visit. But but I always tell them just do your research. I always tell them, now's the time that you could show your parents how responsible you are by learning more about them and then telling them as you learn. And then as you get older, they'll see, oh, you're responsible. I see you really serious about this. Also, and I tell them too, start saving up your own money because if you offer to pay for it yourself, they won't object so much. Because that's what I did with my mom and my dad when I was
Yep.
little.
Yep.
My mom and dad told me when I was young, they were not into animals, but I was. They told me I could have whatever I wanted. We had 13 acres out in the country. I could get whatever animal I wanted, but I had to pay for it myself and I had to take care of it myself. And paying for it included vet visits and all of that too. And so from the time I was 7 years old, I've had some type of multiple types of animals. And I pay for them all myself. I pay for the food, but they said if you don't do your research, you won't be able to get it. If you can't tell me about these animals before you bring them, you can't have them. And so that's what I always tell the children that come to me. My mom said she'll never let me have a snake. Okay, so let's learn about them. Let's learn about other reptiles. Let's learn about other
Right.
animals. We might find something your mom will say you can have, or that's how I do it.
Right. So I would say what you said. Definitely be able to. Well, I guess with anything, when children ask, I don't believe in saying no. If you can say yes and put some restrictions or responsibilities to it, hello, we know you too. He's much taller though.
This okay. Here they are. This is my oldest, and the one with my shirt on is my youngest. Say hi, people.
Hello.
Is it
Oh, and he got the
Damon
shirt on.
Charles? Yes.
That is
Thank you for wearing the
cool.
shirt. But my babies always support. They don't care what it says. They gonna wear the shirt because this is my mama. I said, okay, baby, I love it.
Yep.
Love y'all.
So Q said, that's so true, Nicole. We don't realize the impact. I've had people see me at expos and tell me after the fact that they were afraid to speak because they thought they weren't
Hmm.
sure if I'd be friendly. Like Mike, who are you? Can't call you and torture you like I do, Q. But it's true. But we got to remember, to some people, we are quote unquote, their celebrity because we're not tangible to them in their own little world. But it's funny. Like I think the best way to explain it is how you said you look at Precious. Trust and believe
Yeah.
people look at you the same exact way. And
Yeah.
Precious don't think she as big as she is, or
Mhm.
any of the other people that I have reached out to. I was telling Q, I had inboxed Samson from Slither, and he responded right
Mhm.
away. He's excited about being on the podcast, and you wouldn't know that. So
Wow.
unless you just ask, for most reptile people, we are on the level regardless. I learned that when I visited Nerd. The most impressive thing was how excited Kevin was that I was even interested to drive all the way to New
Hmm.
England for Valentine's Day to be at Nerd. He was amazed that I wanted to come and be at Nerd. And so, and to him,
Does
and
he
I
not?
learned that
Does he
day.
not know who he is?
No, that's what I kept saying, but he doesn't. To him, he is you and me, and that's my point. Like he's a person who
Mhm.
loves animals. He's a person who likes teaching about animals. But to him, he is more amazed and intrigued by you and I. First of all, he didn't know black people were into reptiles like we were. When he learned that I had reptiles,
Look,
he couldn't get past it.
we don't even want to get into that. Do you know how many times my husband has been asked, "Are you sure you married to a black girl?" Like, I got so
Yes.
many. I don't no offense on it or anything, but I didn't know black women was into that. Like, okay, first they didn't know women was into it, then they didn't know black women was into it. Like, yeah, that's a whole lot of. Hold on, let me show you this video. That's what I do all the time.
Yeah, it's Gershon, it's amazing. Q,
Look,
I'm
as
gonna
soon
say
as
you
I get
have
some
one.
made,
You have a Lady
as
T and a
soon as I
Patterson
get
P.
as soon as look, I'm having some. I'm gonna have some made. I'm probably gonna get Chriselda to make them, but I am having some made. And Q, you asked first. Q asked me a long time ago, and I said, "Yep, first name on the list." So it's gonna happen. Hi,
Awesome.
Trinity,
Yes, Trinice said, hey, Melody.
another cousin.
Yes. All right. So, anybody have any final questions for Melody? Again, this podcast is supposed to be an hour. I always tell people, the time goes by so fast. If we're having a good time, I'm not going to cut it off. I knew that I could not wait to do this with you because, like I said, you are the precious to me. I admire you for a lot of reasons. I think that you are probably one of the most humble spirits I've ever met. Even when you're being assertive or you got to correct people or check people, the way that you do it is just so elegant and kind and sweet.
Oh,
But I
thank
get the
you.
point because the devil over here, like, yeah, Melody. I saw what you said through that. But I do love the camaraderie that we built. You were one who went through a very sensitive situation with me a couple years ago regarding some of my sex. You were probably one of the very few people who knew how angry I actually. But even then, I reached out to you as a stranger, and your response, you were just
Yes,
instantly responsive and very empathetic to me because for people
I
like John
knew.
knew because he was in the background, I was ready to kill something. And, and you just kind of like, first of all, you confirmed what I was dealing with, and then
Mhm.
just you became a friend, like someone that if something happened, I check on, you check on me, we communicate with each
Mhm.
other,
Mhm.
and then I think I followed you ever since, but I didn't know you from Animal Eve
Right.
then,
Mhm.
and I just reached out. You didn't know me, and you responded, and we needed each other at that time, and we was there
Mhm.
for each other at that
That's
time.
right.
Yes,
And
but I
and
would tell you, just amazing what we have. And it's not, so many of us and so many of the
mhm.
women that I'm exposed to, I want to bring in on this podcast so that, first of all, young women
Mhm.
and young men can see that the reptile business is actually broader than what you think.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that, like I said, when I watch other podcasts, I learn a lot. And I think that you and I and others like us, even in our simplicity has a lot to offer the community in a positive light. And I would love to see us to make more of a presence as women at some of these bigger reptile shows like NARBC. There are a lot of women there, other ethnicities, naturally so, because, of just how it is. But, I think that the women that I come across actually want to see that there's other women in the business as well, and just how we can just continue to grow with each other. The guys are doing it and they're doing it well. So I'm going to make sure that I am that advocate for us to do it and do it well throughout this podcast, throughout my regular YouTube videos, and then just my other connections. I will tell you that please, 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 I will be asking you to come on again because I like to see, I want everybody to show their progress. So this is where we are today, and then a year down the line, this is where we are then. I am planning to have a reptiles and cocktails next week. So if there's anybody, first of all, that was supposed to be the reptiles and cocktails, which is going to be John's memorial. As a funeral director by heart, since his family is having his memorial today, I didn't know that at that time. We're going to put John to rest today. I'm a true believer that after you have the final memorial, that everybody needs to move on and start to enjoy the memories of a person. So I'm not going to do next week as a reptile and cocktails. That was going to be a memorial for John. However, I am going to ask 6 of my bro sisters to join me. And Melody, you can be one if you have the time. And I want us to have a little cocktail and reptiles get together.
Sounds good.
Next Saturday at 1:00 p.m. So I'm going to be reaching out. Hey, feel free to reach out to me because whoever the first 6 are, you're invited. I don't have no favorites. I definitely would love Melody to be number 1. If she's able to, and Criselda is going to be on the show eventually, probably sometime in April and May. But if you want to join in, please come in, Criselda. I'm hoping, I know Candy works on the weekend, but if she can join in, but whomever, I wanted to just be 6 of us, just having a good time talking about reptiles, talking about our breeding plans, talking about our future, talking about just things that got us to where we are throughout the way, all things reptiles and cocktails, but having a lot of fun. And then just talking about family, talking about, work-life balance. And when I say work-life balance, not about our professional work, but our reptile, lives as well. But I appreciate you coming on today. I knew that this was going to be a one for me. I know another one for me is coming up. I'm going to be having, let me just run it down real fast. So next week is going to be our little girls' day. I'm going to give it a theme name to it. And then on February 26th, I'm having on Maine O'Bowens from Maine's Morph Creations, who is a YouTuber that I watch, who's a good breeder. I learned a lot from him, so I want him on. Derek Hare is coming up on March 5th. March 12th, we're going to have Vaughn Guiden, who we was talking about in her amazing designs. March 19th, live in Tinley, is going to be me and the Precious Robins. Yes, it's going to be so cool. So we're going to do reptiles and cocktails, me and Precious, right there from NARBC. Just going to be dope, 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 dope. Gershon say, pick me. Gershon, you're going to have a one-on-one because I got a lot to say about you. But just so you know, you're going to be on here anyway because I was on yours. I was trying to space it out because I have some people that I'm doing their podcast as well. Mike from Herb Collectives, I'm doing his podcast in April. So we're trying to space it out where he's on my podcast. So again, no one cares. We can see each other back and forth, but definitely in Tinley as well. Gershon on Saturday, he's going to be there. I'm going to try to get as many people to tap in at that particular time. Gershon said, "Ooh, wait, this is a good one. Hold on."
Lord.
Melody, you going to post more? Look, Gershon is on a mission.
I was just Gershon, let me tell you, I was thinking while Nicole was talking, like, I don't even know how she does it. Nicole, you do so much on your, this is hard to do these schedules, and I hate being organized. I like to go by off the seat of my pants and stuff, but you can't do that. You actually have to make plans. So yes, the answer to your question, Gershon, is yes. I will be doing more YouTube videos. I will be doing more social media things. I don't know how, but I will. Nicole, you've really inspired me today. I was like, okay, this isn't. We can be done.
Yes.
This is amazing. I just feel like it's something I have to do. I want to do, and now it's gonna happen. Just wait on it. I'm
Yeah.
coming. I'm
You just
coming
have
for
to do
you.
it. Like, and then some of it, Melody, is just like, it's simple. It's just doing short. It doesn't have to be, nothing long. Just starting off
Yeah.
with something short. I was telling Gershon, when I look back at my old videos into where I am now, I still don't believe it or not. This is scheduled, but my videos are not scheduled because I'm moody. And I sometimes
Mm-hmm.
work will have me all busy. And so when I do present, I like to be in a mood to present. And sometimes Wednesday might not be the day for me. I work in property management and things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm not in the mood to, I just want to come
Yes.
home and lay down and, but I
Yeah.
do try to put out at least one video a week. And of course, this is my new baby. I love doing this podcast. I love doing this podcast. I think that this is going to be that window of fresh air for me that kind of helps me balance the venturing to breeding because as I'm improving my podcast, like I said, I'm looking and watching a lot of others and I'm meeting so
Mm-hmm.
many people. Like where's Constrictors? I met him on a podcast but I'm watching his videos because one of the things that Gershon does, and so does Keys Constricted to do on their YouTubes, and I'm doing it right now, like they share the love and they ask people, like if Gershon has a huge following, so he asks people to subscribe to us,
Mm-hmm.
and we share the love. So a lot of people I met just from subscribing through that action. And with Constrictors, I watch his videos because I learn a lot about it's a certain people in this game. Matthew is one of them. Reggie is one of them who can just look at a snake and just spit out genetics. And
Isn't
unless it's
that
evident,
amazing?
like the spider or the Mojave or something like that, I'm not that person yet.
I'm
I'm gonna get there
trying.
though.
I'm trying. Look, me and John John would quiz me and he would be like, Melody, what's this? And I was like, I don't know. Hold on. And he's like, calm down, take your time. It's okay. Well, now look at this. And he point out what it was. And then I got better. I'm nowhere near any of the people that you mentioned. But I'm trying. They gave me a lot to strive for, and John would just quiz me. We go back and forth, and he would say, "Okay, now here's the answer. Now you tell me." He would like give me the name, and he said, "You tell me." Why is it this? How can I tell this? You have to be able to pick out what this is and what this means. I was like, wow, green eyes, pastel, stuff like that. I was like, okay, I understand. Now you remember when you mix this with this, it makes this, and then you have these. I'm like the alien heads. Look at I'm like alien heads. What is an alien head? Keyholes. You got to look for keyholes. Does it have? What are you talking about? So now, when I talk to my husband and he said it's reptile speak, you doing some reptile Melody talk so normal people can understand you. It's like, okay, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, here I come.
Yeah, but see, I actually like, I guess what I'm into now is listening to all of what I don't understand to help me better understand type of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
all week I'm watching podcasts. I'm watching everybody podcasts that's of substance or that doesn't have any bull crap behind it. But a lot of what's out there now is just breeders just really trying to educate us new breeders, which I assume at some point wasn't as big of a deal. People wasn't into that. I think we have a whole community now who understands that we all can be successful in here in this business. So therefore, we're not as
Secretive.
reluctant to share. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say to you this is that, and this is something that I didn't realize until Q said something to me one day. Just be yourself, because your authentic self is more
Yeah.
than enough, and normally that is what people draw to. I had
Yeah.
a lady who actually watched one of my reticulated python videos, and she said two things. She said, first of all, I'm impressed that you are dressed, like dressed in a dress, doing this video. And she said, and secondly, just your honesty. And one of the things that I've always been honest about is the experiences that people would have with big snakes. The experience that you will have will be different from others. Everybody's not going to have the same experience. It all
Mm-hmm.
depends on what you put into those snakes. They're smart. It's kind of like, I wish I could own a king cobra because I love how intelligent it is. I don't know if you watched the podcast last week, but
I
how
did.
did you see
I did.
Garcia just
And
watching us like the snake was
he look,
focused.
you didn't even pay attention.
I
He had
didn't
moved
know.
the camera, and Goliath was just sitting there, just then he moved over, and then it was a while before you noticed. I was like, how's she missing this?
I did not see that. I'm like the daggone watching us in the
And
background.
the
And he
circle,
knew.
yes, watching the camera. And the circle
He
on the
knew.
back, is the monocle, and that's why they call them monocle cobra, because the monocle that sits on your eye. And I was like, okay, that all of that just interests me so much. And
Yeah.
he kept telling you. He said, look, here's Goliath, and you were just going and going, and he moved it twice, and Goliath came up twice. I think he came up maybe 4 times. And just watching y'all, I was like, what y'all doing? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was impressive. My retics
I
do
do
that,
not
but
want one.
I
I do not want one. I don't want one. I do want I do want to meet one. I do want to visit one. I don't want to handle
that's
it.
all it's gonna take. Go ahead. Go ahead, and that's it. That's a done deal. I tell anybody that. Once you hold one, that's it. That is it. Once you hold one and see, especially like my Motley Mochino, a big one with a very like just so relaxed
Mm.
personality. It's it. You need one right then and there. Like they are addictive. They really are. And they have different Now one of my retics have the same personality. Not one. All of them coming with something different.
I can believe it.
Gershon said it just takes time and practice. There are still some that get me scratching my head. Yeah. But Gershon, at least you know
The
the
basics.
basics. Yeah. I think, I'm still struggling with some of the basics. Other than like I said, the obvious one, the spiders, the pinstripes, the Mojaves, Inchy, because I love it. I can identify Inchy. But I just can't wait so I can just look at a snake and just start telling you all the genetics.
Just
And then
yeah.
something I learned was too, watching a podcast, it's not always that the person know the genetics, they just know the parenting and the lineage. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why they knew. It wasn't from them looking at the snake, because some genetics may not be visual. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Hi Teresa. Vaughn, I hope you've been here. We gave you a few shout outs with your amazing self. Yes, you know all about being yourself. Her TikToks have me in
Definitely.
tears. In
Yes.
tears. That last one where her daughter was just over it. She was
Bond's videos tickle me all the time. I was like,
oh my
okay,
god! When I
watching
see Vaughn guy to show up on TikTok, I'm like, I gotta see
watching all of everybody in the group has a different style, and I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be like myself, but I don't know. I don't think I found my niche as far as social media. So I just go out there
Okay.
and I just be myself. I don't know. Like I can't dance despite what people might think. In my head, I have 2 left feet. I probably have 3 left feet, but I I just
Okay,
enjoy moving.
Cynthia. Okay. So we got
Yeah.
Sincere Exotics on. He's another one. I not so not as active on YouTube as he used to be, but he's another one that I can just inbox and ask any question. In the bro group, he was one of the first that I actually started to communicate on about breeding and things like that. He's had some successful clutches and just a great guy, very laid back. So Sincere, actually, I have you on my list, but look. So you talk about afraid to ask somebody. Not that I'm afraid of him. We talk all the time, but he is very like down low. So I don't even know if you want to do a podcast with me, but I think it would be awesome, brother. Like hit me up so I can get a date. So yeah, he has like a wealth of information. Um, like I said, laid back, but doing his thing with the ball pythons, and definitely can share some very, very, very good information with us and the people on YouTube. His YouTube videos are ones that I watch. I know some genetics because of watching his clutch, because he kind of like his last clutch, we kind of watched it from actual
Yeah.
the snake being gravid to birth to the egg cutting, and
Yes.
so you kind of watch him grow up together. So yeah, much love to him, much respect to him. Thank you. See, he said yes. So I will inbox you a date. But yeah, so you sometimes, like you said, like with him, it's not that we talk all the time, but I know that he's not really big on the spotlight. But he's definitely somebody I would love to spotlight because she's amazing as well. Yeah, we love the bro fam. We love the bro fam. Yep. What I want to see though is the bro fam to just actually definitely expel ourselves more into the other communities so we can be more known and recognized. That's why I make sure on this platform. I always tell Q it's my platform. I always represent bro because I'm a part of bro, and he's welcome on at any time. So Q is one of the people that, regardless of what's going on, if he decides, hey, can I come on today? The answer is going to be yes. Um, Definitely, I don't call people my sisters and brothers much often because I love them differently. But I always tell people if
Hmm.
we have a disagreement and I can still love you, that's how you know you're truly my sister or brother. And yeah, Q is definitely someone, like I said, always had my back and I have his. And he really encouraged me to do this as well. It was first a thought that I shared with him a long time ago. And so when I kicked it off, he was the first one like, yay, sis, yay, sis. So thanks everybody. I thank everybody. Since I've been exploring. Hold on, let me put it on the big screen because I can't see. I've been exploring different avenues, but we'll be back on the videos. Thanks again. Got you. Okay. Yeah. So definitely will reach out to him. But I thank everybody who joined this live today. I thank everybody for all your support. I ask that even after this ends, that you actually share this live. I I get so much love and support. My guests get so much love and support. I'm trying to bring on people. Everybody is not going to be your Aussie boys, but we're little Aussies today. So look, take a picture of me and Melodie, because 10 years from now, we're going to be the
Right.
face of all python breeding. And y'all
Yes.
going to be able to say that one time that girl didn't even know the difference between a clown and a whole circus.
Right.
Thank you so much, Melodie. Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you
for
for having
tuning
me.
in. And I'm
Thank
going to be reaching
you.
out to you guys to, like I said, some ladies, Melody, I'm going to reach out to you too. So if you can do 1 o'clock p.m. next week, I'm going to be
Hmm.
reaching out to you. If you want to just reach out to me, please inbox me. Even if we're not Facebook friends, you can inbox me. I will accept, and so that we can communicate, because it's like I don't necessarily want to pick the 6 people. I just know I want Melly to be one of them. I want Kenny to be one of them. I want Chrisella to be one of them if it can. So let's see how this works out, and I'll let you guys know at least by tomorrow who the 6 are, so we can start gelling and just have a really good time talking reptiles next week. Next week, hopefully, we're not with my sister the night before, and I can have my usual cocktail, but I can't I can't drink back to back like that. And we had just a good time last night. Vaughn said, claim it. I stand with y'all on that. So proud of you both. I love y'all. We know you do. You are so
Oh,
supportive,
love you
Vaughn, and we love
too.
you. We love you. You are definitely in our corner, and just thank you for all that you've done too. Because without a logo and a brand, honey,
Right.
you know it doesn't work in this world of social media. She said, are you going to do an episode on the new act that has been circulating around? I actually did a video, but I'm not going to do an episode, and this is why. I am a person who I play my part. I believe that you play your position, and I am not. I don't know enough about the 300 or 3,000 pages of the Lacey Act to elaborate in this format. There are a lot of people who are, and a lot of people who are giving very good detailed information. Intrepid Exotics did it this week. GP Snakes did it. I did a video that basically said, and I'll repeat it here. To summarize my video is that I've always been a member of USR. And the reason why I'm a member is that just like I don't want to go to court and represent myself, because it's not my part, that's why I'm a member. So if
Mhm.
anything, be a member because we own Reptiles and let them do the work because Phil Goss knows what he's doing. I mean, U.S. Ark is the one who discovered that this change in the bill was laying deep into the bill. So um,
Mm.
I also believe that sometimes social media can be overkill. So you got all of the big people talking about the Lacey Act. I don't want to just be another video because I want people to absorb what the people who know what they're talking about are saying.
Mhm.
So that's the only reason why I'm not doing a live about it. However, I did do a YouTube video. I will be doing another short YouTube video about it this week. That's the way that I can contribute. To do an hour of it, I can't because I'm not that person. I don't know enough about it to be able to elaborate in detail. All I know is that we need to stop the bill because I need to be able to ship animals and keep my animals. So
Mhm.
that I do know. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of content out there. I mean, Nerd is doing a lot. Brian Barchek is doing a lot. All of the big YouTubers, that's all you've heard on their pages all week long. So that's the only reason. I don't want to overkill it, and I don't want to be speaking or elaborating in detail about something I don't know nothing about. I'm the girl in the meeting who was like, I can't talk about that because I don't know nothing about it. I got to do my research first.
Mhm.
But it is important, and thank you for bringing it up. But I would say become a member so you are protected. Think of it as prepaid legal.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to say peace out here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to
See you
share.
later.
Those of y'all who missed it live, it's always better live. So try to join live. And then I will be letting you guys know who's going to be on with us next week. Stay tuned. Thank you, Melody. Y'all have a great one.
Thank you, Nicole. All right.
Bye bye.
Bye.